podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You're listening to Sosbans and Sidesteps.
Hello and welcome to the Sosbans and Sidesteps podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, the one and only pirate that I know, Mr. Huw Griffin. Good evening. How are we, my friend?
Good evening, Mart. I'm very well. Glad to be back talking more Scarlets. I'm getting into it now. I'm just glad the Scarlets are back and we've got something to talk about.
I know, it's nice, isn't it? So before we go any further, I see you donning something rather smart tonight. Do you want to tell the listeners what you're wearing?
No, this is my old one that I introduced last season. So this is just my Cougar old one. I was perhaps hoping to have a new one to show you, but unfortunately not tonight.
No, I just saw the collar and I was like, I love a collar. Why don't they make jerseys with collars? It's just gone downhill since those days.
Yeah, I think the new stash that we've seen so far. There was a photo of Josh McLeod going round with the training top or the leisure wear top with the collar. It's basically a polo shirt and some white / off grey / beige shorts that we were debating, and we were kind of like, you know what, that wouldn't be a bad idea for next season's kid. Kind of into that look.
Yeah, keep it plain, keep it simple. Sometimes it's just the best way to go.
Yeah, definitely. How are you doing?
So,
How's things apart from your wonky headset?
I don't. Anyone who's listening, you're not gonna be able to see this, but this is my boy's headset because he's broken about 10 of mine. It's duct taped, and I don't know if you can see the speaker. The speaker is actually the mic. Sorry, the mic is actually detached. So I'm doing my best. I'm sorry for any bad sounds. It's okay. It is my fault, but it's not my fault, I think. Okay, let's let's forget about that. First bit of news we've got is we had the video uploaded by the Scarlets for the supporters evening. So, who do you want to give us a quick rundown?
Yeah, so this happens. There's this video. Well, the event obviously was a little while ago. Scarlett's published a summary of it, sort of a highlights edits to YouTube, so everyone can go and watch it there. So the panel that they had up was Derek Quinnell, they had John Daniels, Dwayne Peele, and Lee Jones. So I watched it. We're just going to pick out a couple of highlights. Derek Quinnell opened. He gave a bit of an opening speech, and he talked about what they've been talking about a lot lately, which is the young kids coming through at the Scarlets, etc., etc. Likened it to the young generation that came through in the 60s and 70s. I've just got to be honest. Okay, I appreciate that there's a very high volume of Scarlets fans who can relate to that kind of talk, and I know obviously Derek is from that era. For me, I didn't watch the Scarlets while we were at Straddy, and obviously I wasn't born in the 60s and 70s, and so sometimes for me, if I refer to myself as the younger generation of fans, even though I'm not even that young anymore, um, it's not something that I personally, as a fan, connect to that much. So I understand there's a place for it, and I don't think we should forget it. But I don't know your thoughts, mate. I feel like we should. It gets mentioned a bit much for me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, there is obviously a place for it. That place might be at special events, anniversaries, Q&As. I mean, I'm that little bit older with rugby, obviously not a great deal older than you, but you are sub 30. I gotta remind people of that because you are still a baby. But I grew up in the Ronda, so I never had the luxury of going to Straddy. I saw them plenty of times on Sardis Road. I loved that experience. But yeah, history is a major part of who we are and what we base ourselves off. But what we are doing now and what we're going to do in the future is probably should take precedence.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me as a fan, I'm more about the here and now and looking forward. Like I said, there's definitely a place for looking back. I'm not saying we should never do it, but for me, it's not. It wasn't the most interesting bit of the talk, personally. That's just my opinion. Next, we had John Daniels. So he spoke a bit more about the commercial situation with the club and the funding situation. So he obviously talks about the cuts that we've had, and with this season looking to be the lowest funded season that we're going to have in a long time. He did say that 90% of season membership was achieved. So this was well over a month ago now. So maybe we're close to achieving that budget now. Hopefully, if anybody's listening hasn't renewed their season ticket or was umming and ahhing, I would say go for it. They said that would make a huge difference to them. John then talked about uh, increasing comms and talking to the fans more. So he said that the best way you can do that is to sign up to their email newsletter, which is good. It's good that that exists. I would say that it's there's still other ways they could do it. Things like TikTok and YouTube and things is a lot more accessible again for younger fans. That's how younger fans prefer to consume content and comms and things. Tweets, videos on Twitter, maybe even videos on Facebook as well. I think that would be, and Instagram. How can I forget? Just things like that. I think it would be a way of reaching even more people.
Yeah, I mean, something that I thought might have been the start was the question marks we saw last week on the shirts. And then there was actually, I think it was on TikTok, a video of Fafita counting down his 10 best scarlets. I can't remember who was actually on the
There's a
list, but I
TikTok
think they were,
filter. Oh, I need to do it actually. That reminds me. Maybe
yeah.
I'll do it after the pod. Yeah.
Yeah, so Fafita done that, and I think it was ported through the Scarlets as well. So, those things are always a hit, especially with players, and you can double up with someone like Fafita, he is world class. There's no doubt in anyone's mind how good Fafita is.
Yeah.
So to get someone of that standing to do your comms, etc., is brilliant.
Yeah, and then we went on to Dwayne. So I actually was quite impressed with how Dwayne spoke, especially when he's a bit like Scott Snedden in that when you actually get him talking about individual players, he really starts to get going and wants to tell you about them. So that's quite nice to see. And I think that's why so many people talk about they back him as a coach because he definitely really cares about the players and wants to improve the players. So he said he was talking about the squad, and he's saying how because we've obviously lost a lot of legends at the Scarlets in the last 12 months, Sheriff and Foxy being foremost amongst that, Scott Williams also being another one who got a mention. The squad feels very different now, says Dwayne, and there's a different dynamic about it, and we got that when we've spoken to a couple of people behind the scenes as well, and this giving examples of someone like Ryan Elias really being able to step up now and kind of stick his chest out as one of the senior players, which is good. I think it was definitely time for that in the squad. And he said that he really put some emphasis on the leadership. So it sounds like Sam Costello could be someone we see wearing the armband at some point this season. Probably not as squad captain, but he was been a leader on the pitch for the last 12 months massively. So I think that would be a natural progression. Joe Roberts was another one who he mentioned as being a leader on the pitch and off it. So that's exciting. Massively back that. What else did he talk about? There's been a big emphasis on conditioning and fitness of the forwards in particular, which is, I think, a positive, something that we needed. And that was, the last thing that Dwayne said, last couple of things that Dwayne said was he came across as very clued up and knowledgeable about the under 18s, which we're reassured by. Obviously, Scarlet's under 18s was fantastic last season, and sounds like he's got development plans in place for lots of specific members of that. And there has been under 18s have been brought into senior training already during the preseason. And he talks about the new law changes for rugby all over the world as potentially suiting the Scarlets. Particularly the one he picked out was you have to go back to retreating to be put on side for a kick. And he said that will suit us. It will create more space, create more opportunities for counter-attack. Other than that, there wasn't much from Lee Jones. He just introed himself, gave a bit of a background. So Lee Jones is definitely someone I want to hear more of in the future. So yeah, that was my notes.
Yeah, so every time I've spoken with anyone regarding Peel, he's a great talker. He can really articulate himself well in what he's trying to do and what he's trying to get across. And yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons why, the board have been so comfortable in backing him. Yes, results haven't gone away, but, they see the day-to-day progress. They see his intricate planning. When you are that detail-orientated, going down into the under-18s, that shouldn't be in his remit. That's academy remit. And, they, they're not mutually exclusive, but,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect your head coach to be looking at specific training plans for these under 18. So and that's a different level. I think that's an extra responsibility that he's trying to take on, which could be good, could be bad. Who knows? Trying to do more with our squad, you can't ask for more than that. I mean, anyone who listens know I love the community. I love the academy. There's so many great boys. That come and go. There's boys that just for whatever reason they just don't want to do it anymore. They just fancy playing with their friends again. But yeah, the academy is filled with loads of really great and talented players, and not just the ones who've graduated into the senior academy this year. There's still boys in that under 18 setup who will be good to go in a couple of years. Youth, I can remember you telling me he pointed out some names, but Carwyn Jones
Kossoff, I
is
think,
one.
was one of the ones he mentioned.
Yeah,
Name
Kidwelly
checked.
boy. Oshin Williams, Sam Williams, Carwyn Jones. These are boys that are still in that setup that they appear to have good ceilings, and if they stay on the right path, they could be great players. So it's not just about the boys that graduated last year; it's the boys that are still in there, that are still a core part of the winning squad from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was pretty much it. It's not a super long video, so if anybody wants to go and check it out, it's about half an hour long. Worth a watch, and it sounds like they're going to be doing more of them going forward.
Happy day. So what we got next, Matt?
Should we talk about the first preseason game? Well, sorry, second preseason game. We've had one last week, and we had another one.
I mean, well, the first one was more of an academy side with a spring. Yeah, go on. Second game. Second game. I can't say it. So you were live in the ground. Ooh.
I was live in the ground. I was indeed. So my first trip to Welford Road. I'll come on to my general experience in a moment, but just speaking just generally about the performance. Obviously, everyone's seen the scoreline, 35 points to 7. I would say, we all know reacting to score lines in pre-season is daft and unnecessary. So if I just read out the starting team, if I can flip in find it. So Sam O'Connor, Marnus van der Merwe, Sam Wainwright was the front row. Then we had Jack Price and Max Douglas in the second row. Jared Taylor, Dan Davis, and Vea Fafita, Archie Hughes, Johan Lloyd uh, at halfback. Then we had Eddie James and Max Page in the centres, Blair Murray and Ellis Mee on the wings, and Tom Rogers at fullback. So straight away, one of the main things that we asked, wasn't it, to let's see some players and combinations that we think we're going to see this season. And I think there's a few of those. Probably the props a little bit weaker than we would have expected, given the signings that we've made. Maybe would have expected some slightly stronger props, but not to be. But apart from that, Taylor, Davis, and Fafita as a back row, you could easily see that this season. Archie and Johan at 9 and 10 could easily see that this season. Eddie James and Max Page in the centres could easily see that this season. So, not too disappointed with that. I don't know. What was your reaction to the team when you saw it?
Yeah, result was 31-7. I've just
Sorry,
double
31.
checked. No, that is fine. Yeah, I mean, it's what we asked for last week. Just let's see some boys who are actually going to be in contention for that URC game. And obviously, we don't know injury status. There are, two loose heads and two tight heads who are in front of those boys that were named in the full squad. So yeah, I think majority of the starting 15 should really be put in their hands up and saying, look, I want a place in the starting 23.
Yeah.
So that's a step forward. That's a step in the right direction for my liking. I think I counted about 12, possible first 15 players that, weren't there. So when people talk about results in preseason, you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. But yeah, I was fairly happy with that. Sticking with Page at 13, I mean, I can't see him getting game time at 13 unless, we really are struggling. I think he could be a tremendous talent and maybe a 13 in years to come. But he's still a kid. This is his second season of senior rugby. I'd expect to see him more on the wing.
Yeah, I agree.
This is probably this was probably his first real test as a 13 in a pro environment against a pro team. So I'd love to get your opinion on how he did, being live on the ground. We didn't get a stream, which I think is sad for any preseason game by a
Yeah,
professional
that's
club.
more on Leicester really than us, isn't it?
Yeah, but when do we ever stream our games?
True.
It's the same question. But yeah, squad starting 15 looked reasonably strong. Happy with that. I mean, if we run through the bench, because there was an extra name that I didn't know was going to be playing that had to be added on. So we had Ryan Elias. Obviously, everyone knows Eli or Elias, however you want to call him. Jamie Hughes, the Drovers prop. Gabe Hawley, someone we've signed. Will Evans, one of those under 18s boys who is tagged for quite big things if he stays on the path. Ben Williams, who we love. Carwin Tuapolotu, we've spoken enough about Carwin. We know his talent. Will Plessy, another academy boy who's been playing out of Ammanford. I think he's up with either Drovers or Quins this season. I'll have to double check that. Evan Jones, Charlie Titcomb, Gabriel McDonald. First time I've seen Gabriel McDonald for a few months in any team sheet. So another one. Jack Davis, Yori Badam, and one that wasn't named but did come on for 2 minutes was Harry Thomas.
I thought I heard Harry Thomas's name. I I did think like I don't remember seeing him on the team sheet, but I do remember hearing being announced over the tannoy. Um,
Yeah,
so
I
if we
was
go
looking
through,
at.
sorry,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead,
I
mate.
was looking. I was looking at the report. The Scarlets stand has gone player replace here, and then I saw Van der Merwe replaced by Elias, replaced by Harry Thomas, 78. So I don't know why they brought him on for 2 minutes, but he made the
Well,
trip, so there's
so
got to be
that's
something going on.
interesting then. So that means that the team that we had on the at the end, I think, was Jamie Hughes, Harry Thomas,
Yeah,
Gabe Hawley, Will Evans. I guess either Jack Price or
Jack
Max
Price.
Douglas must have stayed on. Jack Price stayed on. Ben Williams, Carwin. Will Duplessis is a back rower, isn't he?
Yes.
I keep on calling Duplessis. It's not Duplessis, it's just Will Plessis. Evan Jones, Charlie Titcomb, Gabe McDonald's. I'm not sure if Jack Davis and Yuri Baden both came on, to be honest.
I got this blimmin' thing up by me now.
Because
If I
I'm
just
pretty sure
scroll
that the
down.
back three was pretty close to unchanged.
Okay. Yeah, Jack Davis came on 64. The Badham came on 75.
Okay. So this is the thing. Like the people who are listening or watching, rewind 30 seconds and listen to me read out that team again. That's not a team of players that we're going to see in the URC. So, like I said, we're happy that the starting team was, but the vast majority of the team that finished the game is either going to be with Drovers or Quins this season in the SRC. So and you look at, we conceded 3 tries in the second half. I just want to be clear. Leicester brought off the bench England internationals. That's who they had on the bench. They're the likes of Freddie Stewart and Ben Youngs. They brought on, and they scored 3 tries against us. One of them in the second half. One of them was a tap and go, just caught us napping. So I'm not taking anything from that. And one of them was a crossfield kick with the clock already in the red in the 80. So they like created, if you like, from normal play 1 try in the second half against a team of SRC players. So this is what I'm saying. It's don't get too worried about the result. Now, from the game itself, if I start with the positives, I thought the back three of Blair Murray, Tom Rogers, and Ellis Mee worked together really, really well. Blair Murray had one great break. Ellis Mee is massive. He's like 8 foot tall, and he very much looks like a school kid. Like his jersey's too big and his socks are rolled down, and his hair's all messy. But he's huge. Like it's ridiculous. Um, Tom looks a little bit rusty, I'll be honest, but didn't put too much of a foot wrong. It was very noticeable that we kicked a lot more than last season. That was something that I noticed. Huw Lloyd started at 10. We've discussed and debated Huw Lloyd as a fly half a lot on this pod. For me, he didn't have an amazing game. He seems to be playing with a little bit of hesitation, like he was second guessing himself a little bit. I think there were moments where his instinct was to run, but he kicked instead because he felt that was the right thing to do. So yeah, like I said, it's a preseason game, so hopefully just rustiness. Archie, unfortunately, Captain Archie Hughes, as we should call him, went off injured on the 13th minute, something like that. looked like an ankle injury to me. He wasn't happy. He was punching the ground, and apparently he was seen in a boots after the game as well. So
Well,
fingers crossed, it's nothing too serious for Archie because he's going to be, if he's fit, he's going to play a huge part this season.
yeah, I think it's safe to say that the boot has become the precautionary tale of any player who hurts the bottom half of their leg. Losing Archie early on is a massive blow. I mean, this is his year. This
Mm.
is his year to really, stamp his name. Okay, firstly on that 21 jersey, because he's a good player, Evan Jones, but I think that's just what he is. He's a squad player.
Mm.
So I don't see any real competition for Archie Hughes, especially if he keeps living up to the talent that he's shown, especially in his combination with Charlie Titcombe, which we didn't get to
I
see.
know we didn't get to see the dream
Oh,
team halfback pairing.
I
Um,
know.
I tell you one player who's good, Eddie James. Every time I've watched Eddie James in person, I've come away thinking, God, he's a good player. Like he really looks like he's bulked up in the last year. He looks in the shape of his life. He's starting to look like more of a man than a boy. And all his touches were class. He's got great feet. That's the thing that people don't realize about Eddie James. That point of difference is his footwork is elite, and he's got the passing game and the carrying game we know. But that's the one thing that I think he's got that the other 12s haven't got. And his outside defense, there was a couple of times where Leicester got on his outside shoulder and there was a chance for a break and he just brought them straight to the ground. No one got past him. It was, we saw last season Eddie James and Johnny Williams play 12-13 with Johnny Williams playing 13. I would think about playing Eddie James at 13. I know he played there at age grade and I think he's got the defense to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie, he seems to be someone who's very capable in a lot of positions. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled on a 15 shirt at some point. He just seems that good of a player. I mean, I'm not gonna make
Mm.
the old Dan Carter reference again. Oops, I did it again. But yeah, I mean, Eddie turned 22 last month, so I mean, if you're a female or if you are someone who's under 20, it is surprising when you talk about man strength compared to boy strength. It's incredibly immense. You might not physically be able to lift more, but you feel more robust. You feel a lot stronger,
Mm.
and that translates massively into rugby. I think it's a massive reason why we don't see many, 21 and under props or front rows.
Mm.
You don't quite have that robustness, that strength to really push through. So yeah, I mean, the older Eddie's going to get, just the bigger and stronger, and obviously being the Wales setup where we know Gatland likes gym monkeys. So I can imagine he spent a good month literally pounding the gym three,
Yeah,
4 sessions a day. No
yeah.
doubt about that.
Carwin Tuipulotu is another player who's started to look more like a man now. Um, in his face and things, he looks really lean. He looks in great shape. Um, Obviously, it was great to see there. Peter Dan Davis got a really nice turnover at one point. Jared Taylor got the try. So, positives. So, the things we need to work on. We got pinged off the park at times, which was a problem last season. Most penalised team in the URC. We need to just cut down, uh, just giving people easy entries into our own 22, basically, don't we? It's fixable. That's the thing about it. It's fixable. So I think they just need to have a word with themselves. Honestly, I thought maybe Jared Payne or someone needs to be like, Albert Vandenberg, stop flipping giving away penalties, boys. And the line out, I counted 6 lost line outs, all of them in Leicester's half. So that was quite disappointing. If we cut that down to 3 lost line outs, we probably would have scored another try in this game with the
Yeah,
opportunities that we had. So that was frustrating. I will say as well, to me, look, I know almost a square root of nothing about lineouts, but I don't think it was the hooker's fault. To me, the lift-in pods were slow to lift, and there was one line out where no one went up at all. So to me, it's not Ryan Elias, it's not Linus van der Merwe. The lift-in pods didn't look like they were functioning great, and I would say that Jack Price, Max Douglas, I wouldn't expect either of them to be our lead line-out caller this season. You've got Fafita, okay, who's playing number 8 in this game. You've got Alex Craig and Tame Plumtree, who are probably Tame Plumtree's probably our best line-out athlete after Fafita. So I would say that those two coming in would make it better, but it,
Yeah.
it was frustrating.
Yeah, you've got Lousy and well, and I'm glad you
Lousy as
just
well.
touched on your thinking the lift mode because I just want to make a point that early on, well, not early on, but first half, 38 minutes were down. Sam Wainwright went off the pitch and Gabe Hawley came on. Now, Gabe Hawley is new to the squad, and I believe this is his first ever professional game. So our props for I just want to check the timing that Jamie Hughes came on. Yeah, Jamie Hughes came on 50 minutes. For the last 21 minutes, we had two props. Jamie Hughes, he's not involved in our setup. He's a Llandovery prop,
Okay.
training with us. And then Gabe Hawley is still a young kid. He might weigh 130 kilos or whatever, but he is still very new to the setup. And again, Max Douglas is new. So we're talking three relatively new people in that lineup. Things are going to go wrong. But that is what preseason is for. Same as with the scrum. I wouldn't have expected, our scrum to function particularly well considering the players that we've got because you need time to mold a scrum, to work together, to get all those intricate parts
Mm.
worked in.
Gabe Hawley, massive. You alluded to it there, 130 kgs, whatever he is. He's the size of a house. He is a big kid. It was very noticeable, even sat up in the stands. In the first half, what if we actually did manage to catch the ball? The driving line out went very well. When we caught it on their 5 meter and drove the line out, we just absolutely went through them like a hot knife through butter. That was where Jared Taylor's try came from. And our maul defense. Now, this is something that was very good last season. People don't want to talk about it. Our maul defense, whether it was Fafita stealing lineouts, which he did in this game as well, or just completely stopping teams at source, and they didn't get a centimeter out of us in the driving maul. So that remains a good feature of our game. So there were positives. The other thing, the last thing I want to mention, there was some bite to our tackling as well that I didn't see last season. Both Blair Murray and Ellis Meat melted their opposite numbers at points, like proper, like ooh from the crowds, from the tackles. Vevafita absolutely destroyed one of their centres as well in a tackle. And Charlie Titcombe put in a tackle on his opposite number that looked a little bit high to me. Um, but there's no TMO in a preseason game, so we'll let him off. But he he shot him to the ground and then he gave him a few verbals afterwards as well. So
Oh,
not against it. I'm not against it.
I like you've got to have a bit of nastiness, a bit of bite in your halfbacks. That's great to see. No, it's like the old adage goes: get your first hit in early, even if it's late. You've got to get it done. No, and that's
Yeah.
that's something I think we can all be happy to know going into what really could be a make or break season.
Yeah. Just generally as well, Welford Road, my first time at Welford Road. Yeah, you ever been?
I've driven past it.
It's
Um,
opposite a prison. They don't tell you that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into the circumstances why I was there, but yeah, I drove past it. I didn't really know it was there until someone pointed out to me. It seemed as though it was just another building in a street. I don't know if that was you about.
Outside, it looks okay. So the club shop, they've obviously spent a bit of money on. There's no way they're making any money off that club shop. It's way too big. It's stupid. I know they're the biggest club in England. They also sell brown bros in the club shop. How do you know if it's an English rugby team? They're selling brown shoes, brown leather shoes in the club shop. Uh, Honestly, it was just big. Biggest club in England, most successful club in English rugby. Yeah, it was just a big normal stadium. It was a bit of a shed, if I'm honest. Parc Scarlets was posher, clear, like definitely posher. I wasn't impressed with it, I'll be honest. And also, when the team comes out, they play what song do you think they play when Leicester Tigers walk onto the pitch?
Eye of the Tiger.
No, Smoke on the Water.
I mean, great song. Great to learn your first, ding ding ding. But come on.
But the thing about it was was that when they start playing Smoke on the Water, the crowd starts clapping along. So it's yeah. But then they all go out of time. No, no, just general like clapping on the beat. But then they all start going out of time. So you get this whole like clapping along thing as the team's walking out, and then the guy starts announcing like, "Here they come, the Tigers," across like the top of it, and then they all go complete out of time because they can't hear the music anymore. It's the least intimidating thing I've ever heard in my life.
So something you alluded to in the group chat. What was the loudest song you heard in that ground?
So there was about seven Scarlets fans in the standing terrace opposite me, who I think must have been with the supporters club. They were singing Sospan Vac and Hymns and Arias during the game. It was the only thing that you could hear in the whole game about these seven Scarlets fans singing their heads off. Didn't hear a Pete. The Leicester Tigers fans didn't sing anything at all. I didn't hear a single song. They were all just sat there doing what? There was a fair amount of them. But yeah, I've been to Gloucester a fair bit. I'd go to Gloucester again any time over Welford Road, I'll be honest.
I think I might have just realised why Saris didn't want our fans at their preseason game.
Oh, yes, that's probably it.
It's gotta be. Is that everything we've got from Welford Road, or do we have any more trade secrets from the Leicester Smokes, the Waters? What are we calling them?
The Leicester Smoke on the Waters. No, that was about it. That was about it. Um, but before we move on, I need to interject that we've had a letter.
Okay, another letter.
Another letter. Another
Okay,
letter.
okay, I'll go with it.
It's it's from Jack from Lucker.
Is
It's
is this the same Jack?
it's the same Jack, I believe. Well, yeah, I'll read you the letter, make your own mind up.
All right, then let's go.
Dear Sosbans and so-called Sidesteps, I was
Oof.
appalled last week to hear your derogatory remarks towards the lager beer Stella Artois, which, as you know, is a drink for gentlemen and for scholars. I was equally disappointed to see the Scarlet's home kit is, yet again, a totally unnecessary shade of red. When will you start playing in a proper colour, like black? Yours, Jack from Lucker. P.S. The question mark on the kit last week was clearly in reference to why oh why do you insist on your childish line breaks? So thank you, Jack from Lucker. Mart, any reaction to that?
Um, all I gotta say is why react to them. But it's always good to hear from from our thriving fan base and to know that we're not just dedicated to David, Calms, Ceredigion, and Pembrokeshire. We do spread out a fair bit. But yeah, I mean, I might have to agree with him on the unnecessary shade of red. I would prefer scarlet. But if you play in black, you've got to sell your soul. So I'm not willing to do that just yet.
Well, let's talk about that then. So the home kit was finally announced. We, by hook or by crook, managed to get pictures of the whole thing. What was your reaction to it?
I think it's nice. Um, we we got a sneak preview, like what was it, the evening before, thankfully, and we could because it was through video, we couldn't really see the pattern. So I thought it might have turned out a bit single tone, but yeah, I think there's not much you can do with the Scarlet's home kit. I mean, there's been people have tried to do things that haven't worked out. So they've gone for some type of pattern on there. I haven't physically been to see it, so I can't work out what the pattern quite is yet. But yeah, it looks quite nice. It remains to be seen. What the price point is if I'm going to be getting. Oh, sorry, if I'm going to be getting one this side of Christmas or this side of the season, I should say. But yeah, it looks nice, shorts to match. What more can you want from a team that plays in red?
Yeah, exactly. There's not much you can do with the Scarlet's home kit, I suppose. One thing that I've seen people say is, do we want to bring in white shorts one time? I think that's just probably for a bit of variety, to be honest. I think if we had white shorts, people would be saying we should have red shorts. Like with the Wales kit at the moment, people have started saying, it'd be nice if we had red shorts. I think it's that people just like that for a bit of change, which I'm not against it. But
Yeah,
like you say, with the Scarlet's home kit, you're best off just playing it safe and be inventive with the away kit.
yeah. I mean, In terms of white shorts, sorry, probably wouldn't mind seeing it, but something that we've seen with Wales women is changing to red shorts for those. So I don't know necessarily if that would be a good thing for all parties because I know loads of kids, teenagers, if they get their hands on a full playing kit, they will play it in training, etc. And I don't think that would appeal to the females playing the game, especially the teenagers. So thinking broader, I'm not against mixing up with colors and styles, but I think white might be worth giving a miss.
Okay, interesting. I see that. I see that. I think we've seen the away kit already, and I think we
I
both
thought we weren't
agree.
allowed to
Well,
say.
no, we can say that we've seen it, but we're not going to give any details away. But we agree it'd be the one to
Oh,
get.
you can't do that to me. You can't. You've just lit the fuse. Come on, but let me talk.
Just
I'm gonna
just
claw at you if you don't let me talk.
just do you agree that it's the nicer one?
I'll be getting it. I'm gonna put it that way. I will be buying that kit, whether or not I buy it myself or my kids have to get it for me for Christmas. I will be getting that kit soon enough.
Fantastic. Right, let's move on before we give away any more secrets. I think the next thing that we need to talk about would be, oh, there's one for you, Mark. We've signed another prop.
Boom, 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 bada, boom, bada, boom, 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 bada. Can't go wrong with signing a prop. You need them. They're high commodities. You need six props for every match day. You got to have your starter, your bench, and your guy that trails around in case one of those two flop on the floor. So, yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of info on Archer. It is Archer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Archer Holtz. So yeah, he's a big guy. We've got a few bits of video to look at him. Australia A, Waratahs, even some minutes for La Rochelle last season. So it's La Rochelle. The similar bracket to Toulon and Toulouse. You don't get to these clubs unless there's something about you.
La Rochelle is so good. They once lost a quarter final at Parc Scarlets.
I mean, how many? This is how good teams are. There's Munster and there's La Rochelle. Did man actually no? I'm thinking wrong now. I know we were up at Torment. No, we Stradi. Oh, mumbling again. Jesus, I'm going on. No, yeah, La Rochelle. I was there for that game. I repeatedly say I was there for that game. Friggin' awesome.
Second favorite Scott Williams try ever, the one against La Rochelle. But anyway, we don't know tons about him, like you said. Obviously, he's highly rated, as all Welsh signings are. Like you said, capped for Australia A, missed the last season of Super Rugby due to injury. But like you said, did get picked up by La Rochelle, and you don't get picked up by La Rochelle as a prop. The videos that went round of him was of him absolutely folding scrums in half. Everyone can look good in a highlight reel, but the highlight reel did look good. So in terms of Scarlet's tight heads, and where we are as a team, we can have a tight head who just walks around, like he can stand on the spot with his hands on his hips, wait for the next scrum, walk to it, and scrum from there, to be honest. So fingers crossed, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Henry Thomas fits that hold quite well. Yeah, I'm interested to see because he's not coming till November.
Hmm.
So he's missing this first block of games. So that means that Henry Thomas, Harry O'Connor, and Sam Wainwright, they are our three tight heads who are going to be traveling to every single game. And what happens when Archer Holtz comes? Is he going to be seen as development for the season? Or is he going to, displace Wainwright, which then leads to many other questions that I don't want to get into right now. But when are considered to have weak forwards, even though you could talk about them individually and say they're brilliant,
Hmm.
Strengthening that pack has got to be, your number one. Uh, there was an issue with Archer and his injury, whether or not he'd be coming or not, etc., which is why it's taken so long to actually follow through. But yeah, I think this must just have been an opportunity. People behind the scenes must have seen enough of him to say, look, I know we've signed a tight dead already. We've got, 3 pros. We've got quite a few younger ones underneath, Will Couch, Alfie Fetchy, even Jack Pritchard, who will be down at Cardiff Met this season. And we can't pass up this guy. If we pass up this guy, it could be a big mistake in the long run. So, I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Do you have a view on the fact that we can now field a full non-Welsh qualified pack?
Can we really?
Alec Hepburn, Marnus van der Merwe, Archer Holtz,
Yeah, I know
Lousi
the first
Fafita,
5.
Jared Taylor.
Craig instead of Fafita just one
Yeah,
round.
yeah. And there's another back rower that I've forgotten, but there definitely is one.
Okay, let me have a quick look in my spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet. Taylor Fafita. Well, I guess we could play Douglas in the row and have
Now
Lousi.
see it's 6. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's is that all of our NWKs? Yeah. Well, with the Scarlets, we don't have any problems producing backs. So yeah, I think forwards are where we need these types of players. So I mean, I can't see us ever fielding the full 8. Whether or not they ever make it onto the pitch at the same time together, that's to be seen.
It'll never
But
happen. We'll never field a full 8 of
no, I mean,
non-Welsh qualified.
we could do a 3 and a 5 or
Hmm.
whatever. I think there's a way that they'll get all on the pitch. There's a possible way. Maybe get 6. I think 6 will be the maximum. We'll see. But it doesn't make me uncomfortable. It makes me sad in the lock department because we've got good young players there. I don't think we really needed to bring in Max Douglas. Yeah, people might go, oh, we've been crap in there or whatever. There's loads of different reasons. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we picked up a young boy last season, Ed Scragg, who was head and shoulders a brilliant player for the Drovers all season. He's really ready to take that next step, but he's now blocked by another NWQ, and he actually ended up playing for Bath on permit or whatever you call it against Cardiff this past week. So no, signing these players is great and all. It's great to have NWQs, top quality players. If it proves to be that way, Douglas, we haven't seen anything otherwise. But there is that backing of you are blocking someone coming through, which is I don't think he was a necessary signing considering these players, but yeah,
Well, on why we signed Alex Douglas, because we all kind of scratched our heads. I think, there was a time last season where it looked like Lousi was going to be off. And then Alex Craig has given an interview to Roby Pass this last week in which he intimated that he might be off at the end of this season. He openly said that he's had talks with Edinburgh and Glasgow, and he said that his priority is to play for Scotland. So if he wants to play for Scotland, can't hold that against him. So that maybe that's why we have signed an extra non-Welsh qualified lock, is because we are losing one of them.
yeah. I mean, I know we went through this, in the last couple of months where we were thinking, well, is Alex Craig going to stay or go? We had the whole thing. I think it was around New Year's about Lousy. Well, actually, all season, I think it was about Lousy. I think I heard rumors, from quite early on about him possibly going to Moana Pacifica. So I can understand why they started the process and maybe it was done before they'd secured Lousy and Craig. But yeah, I just have that feeling that you've got to make the balance right. And I don't think we've got that right balance at the minute between NWQ locks and Welsh qualified.
Yeah. Hopefully for a big season for Morgan Jones, though. That's the one that I'm backing to break through this season. All right then. Do you want to talk us through the community then?
Oh, yay! Okay, I'll run through results first because there's a few leagues that didn't play, and then a few leagues that are not going to play next week. referee things, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so into the Premiership. Our first game was Llangennech travelling to Bargoed. It got postponed for a waterlogged pitch. I have a feeling I might have said Brecon last week, and I apologise if I did. It was them travelling to Bargoed. Narberth went down 37-36 away to Western Rhondda. A bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Newcastle Emlyn winning 24-14 at home to Cardiff Met. Loving that result. Championship West, Ammanford went down 33-24 away to Dunvan. Crymych won 43-21 at home to Maesteg Quins. Wanderers won 39-16 at home to Gowertown. Into One West, Aberystwyth won 5-40 away to Felinfol. Kidwelly, Bunnyport played out a 13-all draw. Hendy went away to Pontardaras and won 21-20. One Eyelid played Pencloud away, won 32-16. And the game from this league I'm going to pick out St. Clair's 17, Tenby 24. I don't know if you've seen the video. I believe it was posted by Lee Jarvis. 17-24, clocks in the red. St. Clair's in there. I think this is in their own 22 from the angle. They've got the put in. The scrum is getting mullered. They play the ball out. They go wide. Their 15 is clear. The 15 is about to cross the line. There's a covering defender. He goes to pass the ball inside, thinking, oh, easier conversion. Pass inside. Bloody player knocks it on. 17-24 would have been a draw game. That must have been devastating for that player. Division 3 West, we had Aberaeron winning 50-25 at home to Llangadog. Ammanite getting back to winning ways, 13-11 at home to Llandilo. Harford West 10-9 over Cardigan, and Tumble winning the massive Gwendrive derby 25-19 at Pontevedra. Kev Nathan, to Christ, didn't go ahead, and I can't find no details as to why. So that's all the results. Here are our fixtures. The SRC kicks off, and if you like the SRC, please check out our SRC podcast. We talk as much crap as we do on here. You're going to love it, I swear. So Llandovery are going to Pontypool on Thursday night. It's live on S4C, S4C, so you can tune in. I think it's Click or live. I'm not sure if it's actually on the TV show. Then Carmarthen Quins go to Swansea. Host Swansea, on Saturday. Premiership fixtures. Quins. Yeah. Premiership fixtures, we got Llangennech at home to Newbridge, Newcastle Emlyn travelling to Bonamine, Narberth got a bye, stupid 13-team leagues. Championship West, Ammanford are hosting Drabanas, Crymych travel to Ystadllefair, Llanelli Wanderers travel to Tondi. One West has a week off, 2 West Central kicks off, our only team, Brynarman, are travelling to Barclay. 2 West starts, Betus at home to Lamberter, Fishguard travel to Milford, Carmarthen Athletic head to Nancaredig, big derby that one. Larne head to Whitland, and a 9-team league. Locher, Jack, this is for you. You've got a bye, so no loss this week for you. Division 3 West has a week off, and we're now into the bottom tier. So 4 West A, Crymych Athletic against Narberth Athletic, Langham against Neyland, Newcastle Emlyn, Dreigiau against Llanybydr, Pembroke Dock at home to Pembroke, St David's with the bye. 9 teams, why the odd number? This is killing me now. 4 West B, Binyard home to Falbay, New Dock Stars travel to Furness, that's for you, Huw. Tregaron going to Llandybie, Pantyfynon hosting Pennebank, and Trinsaran hosting Pontgate. Another big one there. That's all our senior men's rugby. We do have some younger games for you. So the Dewar Shield kicked off last Wednesday when Ceredigion travelled to RGC West and ran out 51-7 winners. On the Friday night, Pembrokeshire Schools beat Carmarthenshire Schools 26-3 in Carmarthen. And Mynydd Mawr carried on as they always do, 50-0 at home to Llanelli Schools. Their fixtures for this Friday, I don't think there's any Wednesday games as far as I'm aware. Ceredigion hosting Carmarthen, Llanelli hosting RGC West, and Pembroke travelling to Mynydd Mawr. And that rounds it up for the community game.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! I'll stick it in here as well. If anyone isn't already a member of Crease 16, you're a Scarlets fan, join up. It's free. You can donate if you want. It's your choice whatsoever. But we are hosting our annual AGM, teeny bit late, this coming Sunday at 7 p.m. Join up. Have a listen. We engage with the Scarlets similar to what we do on this pod. We want to make things better for fans. That is the whole entire point of what we are doing and 316. And to make a better 316, I've actually got a seat on the Scarlets board, so might have a little bit more influence than us by just a teeny bit. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that front. What's on the agenda next, my friend?
It's just a look ahead to Saracens, I think.
Oh, look ahead to Saris.
Are we away?
So
We're away at Sarries, aren't we? So we haven't played a single
yeah,
preseason game at home.
no, it must be too expensive to open the park for a friendly.
Oh well. There was a thing with the tickets for Sarries, wasn't there? They didn't want to give us any tickets.
Yeah, I can't remember where I saw it, but obviously someone from Saracens responded to Scarlet Stan saying this is going to be for Saracen season ticket holders only. We're not giving out any tickets, blah, blah, blah. This is something that Crease 16 did as well. Our man on the board, he pushed John Daniels and co to find out what's going on, let us in. Limited number of tickets, if I'm right on that front, but we have now got some fans who are going, so anyone who will contribute to that.
Did I hear a rumor that Saracens sent us paper tickets?
Yes, they have.
If there was ever, if anybody didn't already dislike Saracens, like
I
one of the
mean,
least liked rugby teams in the world, just managing to do something even less likable.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do love a ticket stub. I if I could collect them again, like I did when I was younger, like I had this, big glass tankard for my 21st, and the first thing I did, I was filled it with all the ticket stubs throughout the years. That was the first thing I did, and I loved it. But it's a choice. We live in the digital age. A physical ticket should be a choice nowadays.
Exactly, And to be honest, I would have thought Sarries would want the opportunity to fill their stadium up with our fans, but
Well,
apparently not.
it's money at the end of the day, and yeah, am I right in thinking Saris are not one of the better followed sides?
They are second bottom or third bottom attended team. Well, they've got
Well,
the big game, which is literally what it's called, the big game every year, where they suddenly get 60,000 fans from somewhere compared to the 8,000 fans they get all the rest of the year round. I'm not saying that they give tickets away for free for that, but it's an anomaly in the stats, shall we say.
yeah, so I don't understand why if you got relatively low numbers anyway, why you wouldn't want to try and fill your ground. I mean, they're not obligated to open all of their stands either, just fill certain ones, make it cheaper for you, steward in food and beverage costs, etc., etc. There's ways to do it, but to really say, "Oh, no away fans for this one, thank you, bye." I
Yeah,
think that's
exactly. Exactly. Oh well, so
so.
what are you hoping to see from the Scarlets then?
Those 12 first teamers that I mentioned earlier, I'd like to see a dozen of them.
Sam,
Um,
Sam.
okay, can I go by position?
Yeah,
Because I'm going to get lost otherwise. So we got Hepburn and Matthias, O'Connor and Thomas, Craig and Lousy, Plumtree. I don't know if I included McLeod on this. I might have. That might have been cheating. Gareth Davis, Sammy. Who else have we got? Johnny Williams. Am I up to
I'd like
my
to see
quota
Johnny
yet?
Williams. That'd be a good one. I'd like to actually. I know Eddie's already played. If Nick Tompkins is playing for Sarries, I would like to see Eddie James up against him.
Yeah,
That would
well,
be a subplot, wouldn't it?
yeah, I mean, he started this game, so there's no reason why he shouldn't be doing the same, unless it is literally a case of we go Johnny Williams, Max
Hmm.
Page, and we are sticking with Page as a 13, which excites me and worries me at the same time. But yeah, Joe and Nicholas. There we go. There's another
Yeah,
one I've missed. No, I wouldn't have included Steph Evans or Tommy Lewis. So yeah, there's a lot of boys in there that haven't featured yet, and my
that's a good
idea.
point, actually. Just sorry to go back on that. Centres. If we don't play either Eddie or Max, It's got to be Johnny and Nicholas in the centre, surely.
Yes. Unless we're playing Johan Lloyd at 12.
I don't think we're going to do that.
No, I can't see that either. But yeah, there's a lot of frontline boys who haven't come into it yet, and like I just said, my idea of a preseason is you have a couple little run outs, a little bit like the Carmarthen game we done, where you try your younger players, you see how they get on, and then you actually spend 2 or 3 games, 2 or 3 at least, with working on combinations you want for your actual league season. It looks like we might only have one, in that regard, but this is what teams do. It's not my decision, so not much I can do about it.
Yeah. I would like to see Sam and Sam have a run out. And who else? Sorry, what back rowers haven't we seen yet?
Plumtree,
Oh yeah, good player.
McLeod if he's fit, but I don't think he is.
Darwin has
Uh,
played in both preseason games so far, but he only started the first one against Quins.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect Fafita to
No,
start this one,
no.
or if he does, he'll only play a half. So I'm probably expecting something similar. I think Taylor might be moved to 8.
Mm.
I think that's something we haven't seen yet because I think
Cowdo,
he
you think
might
we'll
be
see
in the
Cowdo?
table.
Does
I think
Cowdo
we
need
kind
a
of got it.
preseason?
You need it. Yes, everybody needs a preseason. That end of
Do you think
because
if Archie's crocked, do you think we'll sign another? Who's our third choice 9? Who's our fourth choice 9? Because we had
okay,
4 9s last season. Do you think we'll
yeah,
sign another one?
I'm not 100% sure on this guy. We've got Evan Jones. We signed
Oh, I
Rodri
remember. No, we did
Lewis.
sign someone, didn't we?
We signed Rodri Lewis, who's come out to the Ospreys Academy. He was with the under 20s in the Junior World Cup.
Yeah.
Another one we had with the Junior World Cup that I don't think is in part of our setup anymore is Lucas Sataro. He is up with the Quins. He was at the Ospreys trial day. I don't know if he's
Yeah.
on some sort of deal with them, but if he's not, I've no doubt that we can pull him in. And all else fails, Lee Reese at the Drovers is an amazing player to have in, even if it's just Monday to Friday, if possible.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how that situation develops then. Hopefully Archie's not bad. He looked upset on the
Yeah,
pitch, I'll be honest.
I think a bag of ice will sort him out.
Yeah,
That's
he's
my
young.
that's my
He'll be all
wishful
right.
thinking.
Yeah. All right then.
Is that it?
I
Are
think
we
that's it.
done?
We're done.
Ugh, boring week. Boring week. Yeah, so that's everything for us. Big week next week. We actually get to talk about, our first league game coming up. And I'm not here. For some reason, my wife had to be born on the same day with bloody recording. So that's me done. I guess that's going to leave you in the most capable hands of Mr. Huey Griffin. I mean, good luck with that, my friend. I mean, I'm sure you can cope. I mean,
Well,
if
we'll see.
anyone doesn't already know this, and my reference to him earlier in the pod, he is Mr. Pirate Rugby. Have a listen to his podcast on his own.
Oh,
If you like the smooth and silky voice you hear, then not mine, obviously. Mine is a Welsh voice, obviously. But yeah, I know Hugh does do some amazing things with Pirate Rugby, and I love his deep dives into different corners of the world.
Oh, thank you,
South
mate.
America, I think South America one was my favorite one. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Cheers, mate.
that's everything for us this week. We will catch you again. Until then, Scarlet till we die. Bye.
Let's go.
That was Sosbans and Sidesteps. Please rate, review and share on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.